Thesis. What is it? What is it not? Your history paper has a topic. Maybe your instructor has asked you to write a paper about the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. Internment is the topic of your paper. But the topic is not the thesis. Your thesis is the argument you make or conclusion you reach about your topic. The claim you make about Japanese internment is the thesis of your paper. So, how do you get from topic to thesis? Once you decide on a topic, your reading of secondary and primary sources about the topic should lead you to ask a historical question. Examples: emancipation. What about emancipation caused an increase in the physical abuse and abandonment of African American women by African American men following the Civil War? Japanese immigrants. Why did Japanese immigrants to the Western states face harsher discrimination than other immigrant groups? Vietnam War. How did the change to a 365-day combat tour affect soldiers' experiences of the Vietnam War? A thesis is the central idea that drives the content of a history paper. A thesis is an argument. It makes a specific claim about a specific historical question. It declares that the paper that follows will convince the reader that the claim is valid. In a history paper, a thesis explains why or how something happened. It is based on a critical analysis and interpretation of the source materials you've examined. The successful thesis meets 4 requirements. 1. It answers a historical question. 2. It is specific rather than general. 3. It is arguable or debatable. 4. It can be supported by historical evidence. A thesis is not a statement of your topic, a question that does not include an answer, a fact or series of facts about something, a personal belief or a personal preference. A thesis is an answer to a question or questions you've posed about your topic as a result of your reading, and specific, not general, and arguable. It makes a claim with which a reader might disagree, and supportable by relevant, credible evidence from your research in primary and secondary sources. Go with the flow. Read about your topic. Ask questions. Analyze the evidence. And then write your thesis. Question: what about emancipation caused an increase in the physical abuse and abandonment of African American women by African American men following the Civil War? Answer: although freedom made life better in general for African American women, freed women may have lost some of the power that they had held in the family under slavery, because freedom subjected them to the patriarchal domination of a sexist society. Thesis. Because Asians were barred from U.S. citizenship, Western states could legally prohibit Japanese immigrants from owning land and thereby establishing themselves as productive members of their communities. Consequently, during the first decades of the 20th century, non-Asians in the West viewed Japanese immigrants as economically and politically marginalized, as well as racially and socially non-assimilable, and thus as uniquely non-American. This thesis is specific about time and place, and it makes a precise claim about why non-Asians felt free to discriminate harshly against Japanese immigrants. Thesis. Letters and diaries written by combat soldiers in Vietnam reveal that when soldiers' tours of duty were shortened to 365 days, their investment in the war shifted from fighting for victory to fighting for survival. A counter-argument might claim that shortened tours of duty were not responsible for soldiers' lack of investment in fighting for victory, but instead the fierceness of North Vietnamese military resistance and increased American casualties convinced combat soldiers that U.S. victory was unattainable and that they would be foolish to waste their lives trying to win. Your thesis is supportable by evidence if you can provide appropriate background and context for your argument, rely on credible and relevant historical evidence to support your claim, back up your argument with specific facts and examples, bolster support for your claim by citing an authority on your topic, counter contrary evidence or examples. Let's review. Does it answer a historical question? Is it specific rather than general? Is it arguable or debatable? Is it supported by historical evidence? If it is, you have a successful thesis.